use the Back to the Future test. Think to yourself, would I use a time machine? And try to get to a place where you would absolutely reject using a time machine, okay? There's no guarantee that if you had made something different, you made a change in the past, things would be quote unquote better. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Good Problems to Have with David Nima. I am your host, author of the book, Good Problems to Have, The Anatomy of Contemporary Happiness. It's available on Amazon. In today's video, we are going to talk about what I call the Back to the Future test. Okay, if you've seen the movie Back to the Future, it's one of my favorite movies. And it's a movie where Doc Brown invents a time machine. He invents a time machine and it enables him and Marty to travel through time. And if you watch all the Back to the Future films, they go to the past, they go to the future. Somebody else goes to the past and creates what's called an alternate reality because of events that were changed in the past. And while we're watching the movie, I asked my friend, I said, if you had a time machine, if I gave you keys to the time machine, to a time machine, would you use it? Right? Would you use it? And of course, I think most of us have kind of fantasized about having a time machine, right? We fantasize it, we think about what would we do if we had a time machine. I mean, would we go into the future to see what things are like in the future? Would we go into the past? And I think a lot of people are inclined to want to go to the past so that they can maybe change something about their life. Maybe there was a decision that they made and they would tell themselves to make a different decision, right? For example, I can say that if I had a time machine, I would go back and I would invest in Apple stock in the year 2000, for example, right? And by 2023, that stock will be tremendously more valuable. I'll have a lot more money, right? Or I would go back to 2012 and I would invest in Bitcoin, right? Or, other people say that I would go back and maybe choose a different career path. Maybe, act differently in a certain relationship. Maybe not get into a relationship that I otherwise did. So there's a lot of kind of ifs and, what ifs, and if only, I could go to the past and change this one thing. And I kind of responded to my friend saying that I think the ultimate test of whether or not you're happy is your refusal to use a time machine. Your refusal to want to use a time machine, right? And the reason for that is because under the concepts that I discuss in Good Problems to Have, you want to have self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love. And self-acceptance goes part and parcel with being content, being happy with your life's trajectory, being grateful for all the things that you have in your life right now, rather than thinking, oh, if only I could go to the past and change just one thing, my life would quote unquote be better. Okay, there's a saying going around the internet that says that you would never actually want to change your problems with somebody else's problems, right? And I think this is very true. I think we all have our own set of problems, and there's good advice out there saying that be careful what you wish for in terms of wanting to be, for example, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Or wanting to be Warren Buffett, or wanting to be somebody else, because you don't know about that person's problems. And if you think that person has no problems, you're completely fooling yourself. Everybody has their own set of problems, and the problems that you have right now today in your life are your problems. They're kind of what make you you. And you'd be remiss to want to change that with somebody else, thinking that you're going to be problem free. I think that's kind of the trick, right? Most people say, oh yeah, I want a time machine and I want to go back in time and do this different and do that different, thinking that their life is going to be free of problems, right? And of course, as we discussed in chapter 1 of Good Problems to Have, problems are constant in life. You're never going to be without problems. Your brain will select new problems if you're kind of out of problems to think about and to solve. So you're never going to be problem free. And then under the concept of gratitude and self-acceptance and self-love, you're well advised to love yourself right now with all the problems that you might have. And you never want to use a time machine, to go back and change something, because you don't know what kind of a ripple effect that might have or that would have had, and where you'd be right now. There's no guarantee that you'd even be alive right now if you changed that one thing in the past. Okay? So I think that's a really good test in terms of being happy, being grateful with your current situation by refusing to use a time machine. And same thing with going into the future. I want to know what things are like 20 years from now. Who cares? Who cares? Enjoy your life right now in the present moment. This very nanosecond, you have an opportunity to be grateful for your life right now. And without any conditions, right? Because whether you go into the past or you go into the future, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? There's a lot of uncertainty in terms of how things can affect the present moment, right? But the present moment is here for us right now. It's at our grasp, and we have the ability to appreciate this current moment right now. And again, as I discussed in chapter 1 of the book, the gratitude is tremendously important. Being grateful for your life's history and all the events that have led up to you being you right now. Okay? There's no guarantee that if you had made something different, you made a change in the past, things would be quote unquote better. And no matter how things would have changed, because certainly they would have changed if you changed some behaviors in the past, you'd still have problems. Okay? So that's my message to you today. Use the Back to the Future test. Think to yourself, would I use a time machine? And try to get to a place where you would absolutely reject using a time machine. And the reason for that is because you are happy and you are grateful for your life and the current moment that you have right now. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to GPH Lifestyle on YouTube and Instagram. And also check out a copy of the book, Good Problems to Have, The Anatomy of Contemporary Happiness. That's available on Amazon. I'm your host, David Nima, and I will see you on the next video.